At this time, I will call the regular monthly meeting of the Zoning and Planning Board of Review to order. Jill, could you call the roll, please?
Absolutely. James Banning?
Here.
Anthony Brunetti?
Here.
Joseph Paglia?
Here.
Mr. Ballman?
Here.
Thomas Callahan?
Present.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum?
Thank you, Jill. So first item on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes for May 18th, June 22nd, June 26th, July 20th, and July 26th, all 2023. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer a modification to the minutes for May 18th for the board's consideration. I'd like the minutes to reflect that I was the counsel for the appellants for the hearing on the appeals of the building inspectors' notice of violations. Counsel for the applicants objected to my participation because I missed the first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And although I had reviewed the videotape and the whole 9 yards as we typically do, there is apparently a difference between the consideration of an appeal and the consideration of an application. That was sufficiently concerning to counsel. The counsel advised that I not participate in the meeting. So I'd like the minutes to reflect that on the 18th, and also if it's necessary to reflect that on the meeting of the 26th. If that's
26th, yeah. Should we redo those minutes, Steve, or just?
No, you can pass them with the amendment, and then Heidi, when she watches this tomorrow or whatever, or Jill can
Okay.
put it in.
All right.
Right,
You comfortable with
Yeah,
that?
Heidi.
Okay. Is there any other questions or concerns on the minutes? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 5-0. All right, first item on the agenda is a public hearing. It's continuation. It's Point Platinum, lot 117, located at 26 June Street. Mr. Callahan.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good to see you again tonight. I think we have some good news. Based on our research with the town, we were able to determine that the structure was a two-family in some respects prior to the zoning ordinance. So we received those records from the tax assessor. We talked to Narragansett Housing, and they are going to allow the Points to rent through their offices without having to get a variance. And we'd like to withdraw the application at this point without prejudice. If we need to come back at some future date for a variance, we will do that. But one of your concerns was the Points, if they were to sell the property, I don't think it is viewed quite as a two-family for that purpose. But for the purpose of the rental through Narragansett Housing, they are allowing that. So that was our goal, and we accomplished that, so I think everyone's happy, I hope. And we thank Mr. Pintel and Mr. Marcel and Mrs. Abel for their help throughout the process.
Okay. Excellent. So Chair would entertain a motion that Point is removed without prejudice.
So moved. Second.
Motion been made and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Callahan.
Thank you very much.
All right, next item on the agenda is Leclerc, Plat Y-3, lot 61, located at 28 Palm Beach Avenue. Mr. Callahan.
Thank you. Good to see you again. James Callahan, Callahan & Callahan, 3 Brown Street in Whitford. I'm here today on behalf of Robin and Just Leclerc to my left. Some of you probably know both Robin and Just. They're Narragansett residents. Robin is a real estate agent, and Just is a well-respected builder with Leclerc Builders. We're here today asking for 2 requests for relief. First, a relief for the rear yard setback. The proposed setback is 27.8 feet, where 30 feet is required. That's a 2.2 foot variance. And second, we're asking for relief from the hardscape maximum of 35%, we're looking for permission for 42.5%. Admittedly, as you can see in the staff report, this case has had somewhat of a tortured travel. I'm not trying to hide the ball in any way. The foundation for this project has already been completed. The work was underway and the Clares received a stop work order. I wish I could explain exactly what happened and why, but I can't. I think it's fair to say that Just was undergoing some medical issues earlier this year. He's addressed those and we hope that he's doing well. And while that may have contributed to the situation, we cannot rely on that as an excuse or justification. As for the specific relief, I want to say that the rear setback relief is somewhat minimal. It's 2 foot 2 inches. Not that my experience matters too much, but that is not the most egregious request I've ever made. And as for the hardscape maximum, we understand that that has been in existence for a long time, but I think Robin and Just are willing to work to reduce that, so maybe we don't have to ask for that variance. I think that's probably a reasonable step in the right direction. And again, we understand this is not the most optimal way to proceed with this case. You know, we're supposed to get the permission first, not ask for permission later, but that's where we are, and we're asking the board to view it in that respect and not hold that against them, which I think is fair. So at this point, I'd like to ask Just Leclerc to be sworn in.
Please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name and spell it, please.
Jocelyn, Jocelyn. Leclerc is Leclerc.
Thank you.
Just, where do you live?
In Narragansett, in Brady, Rhode Island.
And how long have you lived there?
Since 91.
But it's not at the property he's talking about.
Right.
You just speak up a little bit so the board can hear you.
Yeah, so someone in around 91 or so.
And is it fair to say that you had some medical issues this past spring?
Yes.
And you're a builder by trade?
Yes.
And you own the property at 28 Palm Beach Avenue?
Yep.
And we're here today for a request for 2 variances, correct?
Correct.
And it's fair to say work has already begun on the property,
It has.
but you stopped that and it's been in the same state as it has been for about 6 months.
Yeah, that's close. Yeah.
And based on the work that has begun, we are looking for a variance for the rear yard setback.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, correct.
And is it fair to say that that area was a sunroom? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, like a 3-season room.
And now you're looking to expand that slightly and turn it into a 4-season room.
Absolutely, yeah.
And before this work began, is it also fair to say that there was a sunroom with a sort of a structure on top of it?
Yeah.
What was that? What was that up there?
It's a deck for the second floor.
And did the deck overhang a bit off the actual wall?
Yes.
And is that the same approximate distance to where the setback is now for the foundation?
Yes.
Okay.
Very close, yes.
And was this something you did on purpose?
No, absolutely not.
And how many projects in South County have you completed in your career?
Probably around 50 or so.
And is it fair to say the first time you come across this issue?
Yeah.
And what is the purpose of expanding the sunroom?
It's to get a four-season house for these areas.
And regarding the hardscape, it's a gravel type surface, right? It's not concrete? Or not all concrete anyway.
Driveway. You said driveway.
The driveway, sorry.
Yeah, it's a stone driveway.
And anything else you'd like to add?
think it covered, just about everything.
Any questions from Mr. Leclerc?
Any of the board members have any questions?
So you didn't apply for a building permit prior to beginning construction?
Correct.
Were you aware that you needed a building permit?
Yes, what happened is at this point in time, in the winter, we had like a really nice time frame that we could do something. And I could not get an architect to design anything any fast enough so that I could utilize that cold spell that we had. So we went into doing this with having an architect that will produce the plans. But like, I mean, we did, I guess, earlier, too soon until, we should have had the architect finish the plans, I guess, that's what I'm saying. We were in the process of doing that, but it got trembled.
About what?
It got kind of trembled, or, you know, so that's basically the reason, you know. It was very, very difficult over the weekend because everybody's busy at what they're doing, and everyone was saying it's gonna take you 16 weeks, 14 weeks, and this and that. So, that's what happened. It was based on trying to be in that time slot and still have the permit. The permit has been issued now for a while. So that's how the story was proved to come.
Got a picture of the house?
Mr. Callahan, what stage of construction are we in with it?
Yeah, that's what I said. So that bottom section with the green board on it, I guess they built that was an enclosed sunroom. Wayne, am I hearing?
I don't remember it being an enclosed sunroom. I thought it was just an open deck.
Okay, so
Previously.
what was enclosed, or nothing was enclosed?
It wasn't closed.
So that was just he just put a foundation in, a footing in, and started building?
Put a full foundation. There were footings before.
Okay. So there's really, that's not really a misunderstanding. You're a builder, you kind of, there was nothing existing there, you just started building it because you didn't want to wait for the architect? Is that what I'm hearing? I just want to make sure I hear this right.
Can I speak up?
I think,
Well, Robin, you need to be sworn
I-
if you're going to speak.
Please, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name and spell it.
Robin Leclerc, ROBIN LECLERC.
Thank you.
So, the bottom, right, everything was already existing. There was a first floor, 3-season porch already with the open deck above it. So basically, the top part, the second floor is a new enclosure on top of what was there, the open deck before, but partially enclosed here. When the new foundation was poured, it was poured where the second floor deck overhung the 3-season porch, and basically we just wanted to create a first floor living room to make it enclosed instead of having it be 3-season, because the 3-season, when it rained, it would always come in that area because it was an open deck above it and it wasn't sealed completely. And there's no heat out there. That's why it was a 3-season. So we had windows and we had screens and windows, a door, just like as you kind of see it.
So, for the prior sunroom that was there, there was a foundation underneath it,
It was pilings,
Footings.
just for,
yeah, footings.
and just to be clear, when the new foundation was put in, so the footings were supporting the upper deck? or the-
Yeah, yep. And that was always there since we purchased the house. We purchased the house, he was incorrect with the date. We've been living in, the neighborhood since 1998, and that's when we bought that house. And then we moved out of that house, in, 2006, but we still live in the neighborhood. Yeah.
So the footings were supporting the upper deck, the foundation was poured where the footings were before, or?
Yeah, where they were dug, the concrete company dug to put more footings. They took out those existing footings and dug and put in new footings and put the forms up for the new foundation.
And that was done pursuant to an architect's plan, or?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
I just want to be sure I understand. Did I just hear you say that you don't live in this house?
No, we don't, it's a rental.
It's a rental?
Yeah.
Okay, so you wanted to convert this to a 4-season living room for a rental property that you own?
Yes,
Got it.
yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that new room about?
The first floor is gonna be a first floor living room, family room, off the kitchen, and the second floor is just an extension to the living room that's upstairs.
So it's not a bedroom?
We're not adding any bedrooms, no.
The first floor is actually connected to the kitchen area.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify on the foundation footing issue. So the footings originally were 10 feet out from the back of the house. And then there was I don't remember, but there was evidently a 2-foot overhang of the second floor deck beyond that, which made it 12 feet overall. The new addition is 14 feet out.
So it's 2 feet beyond
2
what?
feet beyond the overhang,
The
4
overhang.
feet beyond the footings.
Okay. Because I know in the past, Tony would, and I don't know what your interpretation is, and I'm not gonna obviously hold you to what he did, but he would allow people to go to the furthest point as long as they didn't create more of a more relief than.
If it was existing and they were matching up to a non-conforming structure, then
Yes.
we would permit that. This was a tear down, it has to meet all setback requirements. So that wouldn't even apply in this case.
Okay.
Mr. Callahan, do you have any photos of the pre-existing conditions? Of
I don't
the
believe-
three-season room?
Yeah, we submitted it to the town, on the portal of what the house looked like before.
I don't remember seeing photos.
I don't remember photos.
I uploaded them on, what? With the deck with the overhang, yeah.
That might not.
I can check. Give me 1 second.
So the dimensions of the new, I guess it's, what you're saying is 14 feet out?
Yes. 24 across.
It was it 10 by 24 prior?
It was 10 by 20 prior,
10 by 20, okay.
but there was a 2-foot overhang on the second floor, which was, we're trying to locate a photo with that,
Right.
which would have made it 12 technically, but if
Right.
you look at the footprint from the air.
Yep.
Jill, are you in the portal?
Mm-hmm.
So I uploaded them as, labeled them as pre-existing structure, I think.
Wayne, what permit are we under? March or June?
March. Should be.
Did you get the email? Did you find the email?
All right.
Yeah, oh, yeah, because that's,
Okay.
it's public.
Did you find it?
I didn't find pre-existing, but I have some of the old footings. So let me just get this back online here.
Mr. Callahan, while Jill's looking, can you expound on the hardship aspect of this application and the standards?
Well, that is a good question. I can have Ms. LeClaire testify about that if that makes sense. Ms. LeClaire, regarding this application, is it fair to say that the hardship that you're seeking is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land and not to the general characteristics of the subject area? So the size of the lot is what it is, and you're asking for a 2.2-foot variance.
Correct.
And is this a picture of how it looked before?
No. No.
How so?
Nothing's there.
So, Mr. Chairman, I can't find the picture that Ms. LeClaire is referring to.
Okay, but that does show the.
I mean, I have multiple pictures in here, but nothing that was, that's the closest thing I can get to what was there. And unless, Ms. Claire, you see it.
It was back in March.
This is the March permit?
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
That's March 8th, yep.
March 8th, right there,
Is it are you all the way back?
That's the
Yeah,
furthest
it's
one.
the top.
What's that one?
That's your plan? We just went through these. And this is-
I want to find it.
And then we get down to the bottom. These are the ones that we just showed.
I think the photo is probably going to be the best representation of what was there. And looking at that photo, there was a slider, so it does appear that there probably was a cantilevered section a second floor deck that cantilever only that 2 feet beyond the 10 foot where the footings are.
Trying to find it, Wayne, sorry.
No, no problem. There it is.
So in that photo, Mr. Claire, those green footings, is that where the
Yes,
season room extended to?
yeah,
Where are these photographs from, if you recall?
with the footings?
Yeah.
This was after the demo, we demoed the decks. When we demoed the first and
And you provided those photographs?
yes,
So, Mr. Callahan, I'm a bit confused.
Yes.
We demoed the deck, but the testimony was that there was a three-season room below the deck
Correct.
there,
that we have no proof of, other than testify.
alright.
Okay, I'm just asking the questions.
I'm
Right,
gonna
there was
find the picture for it.
I can see the pictures with their hand.
So, yeah,
So
we
they-
never saw the pre-existing conditions.
Understand?
So that first floor, more than likely looking at the photo and what was removed, was an enclosed three-season room.
Was.
And then there was an open deck above that.
You say was or was not?
Was.
Was.
There,
Well, yeah.
Well, how do
yeah, there's a shower and stairs, I don't get
Right, there's a
Sure.
shower out on the thing.
Confused. So
And
the
so-
top part was enclosed?
No.
No,
No.
it was the bottom.
Correct.
Okay, because the top doesn't look like it was enclosed.
The shower over there too was also enclosed. It was part of the three-season
Right, so it was an outdoor shower, but it was
Indoor.
correct. Right.
Okay, so the floor was over those stairs. Those stairs have nothing to do with the picture.
No.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Right.
Those exterior lights on the first floor that flank the sliders were there and an enclosed porch?
Right.
Interesting.
And
So, I mean, it's
Wait.
obvious with those cement steps there, the three-season room was an addition at some point.
Right.
And the steps were just covered over. But, all right, so,
And the footings supported the second floor deck,
Right.
The
supported
three-season
everything.
and the deck above.
First and
well,
second.
currently, yes. Well, not currently, but previously.
And they're not, those footings are not aligned in a straight line, is that correct? There's some in the foreground, some in the background? They don't look,
No, I would say they're in a straight line.
they are? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one in the center, that one in the center doesn't look.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah,
looks
we
like
didn't, I didn't
Yeah.
look at the permit history on this previously, but those,
Looks like an
they
old-
could have added footings when they added the deck above, for the additional load. That's what
Yeah.
it appears as though may have
New and
happened.
old, yeah.
All right, well, I guess, but what's in front of us now is
That's what I
what's
was gonna say.
existing.
So and that's,
Today.
that foundation, the new foundation that's existing today is 2 feet this way of the house on those
Four.
footings.
No, it's actually 4 feet.
Okay. That's, yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
So it's actually,
Bigger. It's wider as well as,
Yeah, looks like it goes.
it's
right-
long, yeah, the length doesn't, we're not concerned with the length, it's the width of the house. That's what triggers the,
no, we understand that.
Is this it? That means who's for? I can't read that. The glasses aren't even strong enough.
what's that?
What's the
Joe?
new addition gonna be used for?
Didn't-
The first floor connected off the kitchen,
So
so
it
it'll
can
all be
be-
open, and it's just gonna be a first floor living, like a living room. And then the second floor enclosure is off the living room that's upstairs, and that's just a continuation of space. So, Jill, I have this picture that I uploaded. It's, It's called, let's see, on March 27th, I uploaded it, it says second floor, first and second floor PDF on March 27th.
I have a photograph, I finally found the photograph, that makes sense.
Is this what you're referring to? This is.
Yeah, so, basically I copied what, that's on Vision Appraisal.
So this is the prior one? Right, will you be able to, if
I
I
can
pass this around, can we print one out for the
I
record?
can email it to Jill, does that make sense?
Yeah, you can.
That makes sense?
Yep, you can email it to me, I think.
You can
Yeah,
do that right
and then
now.
I can post it right now. Yeah.
Chris. My last candy.
My work computer's on. Yeah, it never goes off.
Pass this around. You want me to pass this around the interim? or-
Yeah, well, yeah, in the interim, so we can keep this one.
I don't open my email on my laptop, so it hasn't updated since June 22nd.
Oh, so it's. I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
And you can, there's two photographs, one of the pre-existing, then the, if you go down, is the current status.
That's pre-existing?
That's pre-existing.
Okay,
That's what it looks like now.
I get it. Yep, so the extra 2 feet is already,
Yeah.
that was already
Yeah.
there. Here's the extra 2 feet.
If we only had IT here. No, I can't get it updated past June 22nd. I tried to hit the,
Oh, it's 2 feet beyond that. Oh.
sync this view. Yeah, I mean, I'm on,
I can email to Dan.
I just put it closer
Right.
to it.
I mean, as long as we get it for the record, they're viewing it
Yeah,
now.
so now it's 2 feet.
can you post it to e-permitting right now?
Oh, I don't know.
If you,
He doesn't have
if you
access.
send it to me, I can post it as I'm on the portal right now.
Okay. You sent it to me, yeah. June
I was
21st.
looking through your
June 21st, you said?
June 21st.
Very good.
Yep.
Everyone good with this?
Yes.
Thanks.
Well done.
I'll just send it to them. I think that concludes our presentation. If more questions, I think people are ready to go.
Okay.
Actually, let me ask the question, I'm not sure we got through the
Standards.
standards. I think we hit one standard and we
Sure.
stopped.
Right.
And Ms. Leclerc, this request is not due to a physical or economic disability of the applicants, you and Just.
No.
And is it fair to say the hardship is not the result of any prior action of the applicant, even though it's built? You'd still be here requesting the same relief regardless, is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
And this is not a result of your seeking greater financial gain?
Absolutely not.
And what is the purpose?
Well, we've been, this house we've owned since 1998 and slowly but surely been, we lived here for a while, since 2006, and over the years we've been updating like the furnace is recently new, and some of the plumbing and electrical, because the house was built in the 60s, even though we put an addition on, but the main house was built in the 60s, so no financial gain, just it's still a rental property.
And this variance will not alter the general character of the area, the neighborhood,
No,
nor will it impair the intent of the zoning ordinance, as far as you know.
no,
And nor will it be against the comprehensive plan of the town of Narragansett, as far as you know.
right, correct.
And is this relief, the least relief, necessary, in your opinion?
Yes,
And additionally, and the hardship you'll suffer if you don't have this variance, is it fair to say it's more than a mere inconvenience?
I'm
Do you-
sorry, they were talking, they're disrupting me back there. What did you say?
Is it fair to say that the variance that's not granted amounts to more, is more than a mere inconvenience to you and just?
Mhm.
You want this house, you've been taking care of this house for years, you've been a good steward of the house,
Yes,
and that this addition will not make the house any more profitable, is that fair to say?
correct.
And it may make the structure a little more valuable, but that's not the point of your
Correct.
situation.
I mean, my daughter's 27 years old. She's gonna be in this house sooner or later. So it's in the family, and we'd like to keep it in the family.
Or any further questions?
Are there any further questions? Okay.
I have one, Jim. Is this house rented year-round right now?
It's rented year-round, but certain times of the year. So not a year. It's not a
You don't have
year-round.
one tenant in the house, one tenant on the lease for,
No, this house, we rent to travelers that come for Thanksgiving or reunions, or they want to come for Christmas to get together. We rent it in the summer as well, but it's that type of rental. It's not a student rental.
but it's you use it as a short-term rental?
Yes, correct. Mhm.
Any further questions?
Mr. Callahan, so with respect to least relief necessary, right, always a tough standard. If we were looking at this application prior to the commencement of construction, I would have the same question. Tell me why this is the least relief necessary. Why couldn't it be, if they hadn't built this foundation, why couldn't they have built a foundation that did not encroach on the setback? That would still be a four-season room.
It's true, it could be. The way they've organized the kitchen, one interesting thing about this is that they began construction in February. The stop work order was enforced and abided by. In the interim, we did reach out to building to ask that they be allowed to complete the kitchen area, which is like a galley kitchen, is that fair to say? A galley kitchen. And the galley kitchen, the way it's set up, doesn't allow for extraordinary amounts of room in the kitchen area. And it doesn't allow for more space where you say if that is the back wall of the future room, regardless of the size. The galley kitchen goes sort of that way. And then, unless you have that extra space, you really can't fit much in terms of a dining room, couch, things like that in that area. And I think that's what makes it the least relief necessary, because of the size of that particular room. That's our contention. It's a little awkward in the way it's set up. As you saw, the shower was outside, and this picture, it's like a glass enclosed space. It's a little strange, but like I said, I don't think the 2 foot 2 inches is that extraordinary and has that much of an effect in the neighborhood, but I can see where the question would come up.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
And one other thing, I'm sorry, we did get the permit for that kitchen to be resolved so that they could work on some of the area interior that wasn't affected by the outdoor space. So they did follow the rules afterwards, if that's any consolation.
All right. So at this time, I'll ask if there is anyone in the audience that is in favor of this proposal or would like to speak. Okay.
No, he's in favor.
Is there anyone who is opposed and would like to speak? If you're going to speak, you need to come up, be sworn in.
Sure.
And
Right after.
Where do I go?
come up here where we can identify yourself. This young lady
Please raise
is
your right
waiting.
Robert E. Benson.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last.
Robert E. Bensley, B-E-N-S-L-E-Y.
Thank you.
Well, we live right behind that house. Well, one thing I have issue with is that Mr. Callahan said that he's not trying to hide it. I mean, the work and whatever, but it seems to me obviously he did because he didn't get the right permits and so forth.
Yeah, could you just address the
Yeah, you're speaking to us.
How many, can I ask them questions?
No.
Because she made a point about it possibly not getting any financial gain out of it, but she advertises it on VRBO as a 18-person, be able to sleep 18 people, which to me is a lot. She also said that she doesn't rent it to students, but I take issue with that because when we first bought that house, there were students in there for the year, and they left in May when the school ended. So can we go back to one of the pictures that had the building? The actual building itself, because like this, as I understand it, is going to be a deck, right, on top of the roof. It's what like a deck up on the roof, which looks right down into my yard, and we have an outdoor shower too. That will now have to put a little bit more privacy in because you can look right into our bathroom, our shower, all that kind of stuff. Plus, to me, was there any kind of runoff assessment done? Because those last rains that we had, my neighbor Nancy had a lake in her backyard. We had a lake in our backyard, and it was all coming from the two properties behind us because they're higher than us. Well, I'll let somebody else speak now, and then I can come back if I need to.
Alicia, did we get his
If
address?
there's some following questions?
Did we get his address?
Address? I don't think you put his address on.
No.
Oh, I'm at we own the house at 21 Sarasota, which is directly behind that house. So, and it's interesting that we don't see pictures of the surrounding houses.
Which house is,
So
which house is it?
Show your shadows.
I think it's this one then, because this is the vacant
It's
lot,
oriented
right?
north-south. It's oriented north-south.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so that's my yard house, because we have that open piece of land right there.
Okay.
And another thing I want to take issue with is, one of the statements was that he had medical issues for not filing the permits, but that didn't prevent him from going along, building and putting things up and so forth. So I have a lot of concerns.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Richard Duran, D-U-R-A-N.
Do you Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and spell
Richard.
your last.
Duran, D-U-R-A-N-D.
Thank you.
All set? Address, anything else?
Where do you
I'm
live, Mr. Duran?
33 Sarasota.
Which is
Diagonally below them, behind
Southwest?
and below them.
southwest?
It
Oh.
would be southwest,
Okay.
yeah. My initial concern was that two individuals, both knowledgeable, one a real estate agent and the other a home builder, failed to get a permit for a project as big as this. Ordinarily, this house would have been rented to students. This year it wasn't, because I believe all of this project construction was premeditated. That's just a theory. But, and I've been hearing terms tonight about not looking for financial gain and hardship and rental policies. It is listed as a 7-bedroom, 3-bath house that sleeps 18 adults and rents for $880 per average nightly. Zoning rules exist for a reason. That this house is going to be larger than the lot permits, that it is going to extend beyond the zone in the back, is simply unacceptable.
Mr. Duran, the house actually is not gonna be larger than what the lot can support. It's, what they're here for is relief from the rear setback.
I was also looking at, maybe I'm misunderstanding it, the project proposes 5,955 square feet, or 42.5%, whereas 4,900 square feet, or 35% is the maximum allowed.
That's hard.
So they're asking for a
That's
hard
a
speed.
different animal than what the size of the house.
Okay,
So
the
as far
setback
as
is
the
the
house
issue then?
goes, as far as the house goes, they're looking for relief from that new addition that's in the ground. 2 feet, 2 inches, or is it 2.2 or 2 feet, 2 inches?
It's 2 feet, 2.2 feet.
2.2, okay.
But
2.2
it's in
feet.
the notice.
You'll get your chance.
Okay, still a concern.
Well, just
Yeah,
so
thank you. Yeah, it's a big house, it's a rental.
You're right, it is a
It's purely
big
for
house.
profit. When their daughter moves in, she's gonna have 7 bedrooms and have a tough time deciding which one she wants to use herself.
Well,
Because I don't know what's floating around here tonight, but there seem to be quite a few issues when we talk about the rental policy, because it is occupied often by occupants
all
that
right,
are still. I
but
know,
one thing
concerned
you
about
have to
the
understand,
2 feet.
we don't control
Okay.
the rentals in town. This is a touchy subject.
It is,
but
I know where you're
understand.
coming from, okay, I
But we
understand.
don't, whether it's a seasonal rental, a year-round rental, or not a rental, we're looking at the land and the property, and the house that's on there, the relief being requested.
Okay, I suppose the basic violation then is the setback, and that's a variance that should have been sought beforehand. and not-
Absolutely, you can't
Not acted
Can't
upon
argue
without a permit, so I guess that's the limitation of my issue at this point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't want you to think I cut you short there, but we
No,
don't.
I understand. I'm not attuned to this, I'm just like more free spirited ordinarily.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last.
My name is Edward Cunny, C-U-N-N-I-E. I live at 13 Sarasota, which is the bottom right-hand corner. You can see half of the house on the map. I'm here with my wife Peg, over here in the corner. And I would like to address the board with a question, if I may.
Mhm.
I was under the impression there was 2 issues here tonight. One was the setback request, and also that there was a minimum square footage request that was exceeded.
That's the hardscape.
Okay, so that's not the issue we're discussing tonight, or?
No, it's part of the issue.
So it's one issue, not two?
No, there are two issues. There are two issues, but I just wanted to clarify the statement that the house was too big for the lot. That's all. That's
Okay.
all I was doing. But there are two issues here,
All right.
yes.
Okay.
There's two forms of relief being requested.
So, in my opinion anyway, and the way I interpret the law, is that the zoning regulation that's currently in place does not present a practical difficulty for the owner, including no unique physical circumstances, conditions, or hardships exist. In other words, there's no reason why they can't obey the existing laws. Secondly, the property is already developed and being reasonably used. I mean, it's obviously having 7 bedrooms and being able to rent it is, the property's being used. I think the applicant has created the situation by violating the zoning regs and not obtaining a building permit before construction. That's why we're all here tonight. If this is authorized, it'll alter the, excuse me, it'll alter the essential character of the neighborhood. It will permanently impair proper use of all of us here with the risk of public detriment. I'll be honest, I've called the police more than once on noise coming from this property at 2 o'clock in the morning. And this is not certainly in the public interest.
Thank you.
Can I get a question?
Yes.
Go ahead, Tom.
Could you be clearer about what you mean, when you refer to the character of the neighborhood, what is it about what's being proposed here?
So,
that is.
my wife and I raised 4 kids in our
Mhm.
house, okay? 2 of them still live there. They're all, one of them's 19, the rest are in their 20s. And they seem to come back and forth from time to time. I've lived there since 1995. We both lived there since 1995. When we moved in there, it was a family neighborhood. Now the dynamic of the neighborhood has changed, I understand. But the bottom line is there's still plenty of concerned people here, people with families, and people who want to maintain the integrity of the neighborhood. And this is not going to help it.
So, I mean, I get all of what you said. What I'm trying to understand is, how does what's being proposed here amplify? Does it amplify, does it neutral, does it help?
So my house,
What issues you're having with
my
respect to
house
that?
is approximately the same size lot as their house. It's about 1/3 of an acre is their lot. My house is maybe 2,000 square feet. This house will be 6,000 square feet when it's done.
No, what? No.
Let him speak.
All right.
Well, that's what my notice said, 5,900 square feet. How can that not have an impact on what is already there?
No, again, I'm not gonna belabor the point. When people talk about changing the character of the neighborhood, it's important understanding what exactly people are referring to. It's a pretty broad term. Right now, the house is being used as a rental. It's got 7 bedrooms. You're not adding a bedroom here. You are adding additional space to basically do the dining. And what I'm trying to figure out is when people say it threatens the character of the neighborhood, what exactly about adding the additional square footage, leave aside for a minute the hardscape piece, which we'll get to. What is it about that that changes the character of the neighborhood? That's what I'm asking.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
You're making the house bigger. Okay, it's going to affect me. That's what I do.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last.
Joseph Osterman, OOSTERMAN, 37 Sarasota Ave. I live over here. But my wife and I, Linda and I, are vehemently opposed to this addition. Mainly we've had multiple noise complaints from renters from this house. And what I can answer Mr. Callahan's question, what it's going to do to the neighborhood is impede our quality of life. I can tell you the number of times I've walked by there, whether it's 10, 20 people outside or on the porch partying, making noise. Not only that house, but some other renters houses in the area, but, so what that's going to do, it's going to give a living room with all windows. Some of them will be open, there'll be people partying, the noise is going to reverberate among the neighborhood, even down to 37 Sarasota Avenue. Now, it's even worse on the top level, because then they're going to have all kinds of people up in the top level partying, looking down on all of us, and then you're going to be able to hear it probably three streets over. So that's how it's going to impede the quality of life. It's already 7 bedrooms, sleeps 18. I don't understand why it needs to be larger. That's about all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Any questions?
I have a question for Wayne, maybe. Wayne, it's my understanding there's a deck, there's an upper deck, there was an upper deck on this to start with, is that right?
Proposed?
No, wasn't there, when they added the,
There was one below.
There was a pre-existing deck.
there was a pre-existing deck
Yes.
up above?
What are you referring to? It was even with the second floor.
Right, and that's gone now, right?
That's going.
And how big is the proposed deck versus what was the existing deck?
Maybe, that's the existing plan.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to see the proposed?
Yeah, change the slide where you can see the door in the garage, so the color photo.
I'm sorry, this one?
Pull up the
No.
one with the footings.
Yeah.
You
keep-
can see
yeah.
it. Where it was
Oh,
connected.
you gotta change gears.
Okay.
Sorry, Joe.
That's
was-
all right, no worries.
There's a walk door coming.
Does anybody have a pointer?
There we go.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think what Mr. Callahan's saying is that
There was a deck there.
and I think the deck is gonna go to that door in the garage, not after the construction, correct?
There was always a deck that went around the house to connect to the door in the addition.
Okay,
That top deck on the main house was already there, and it made the corner, so that's not changing.
that was already there.
That was already there, so
Okay.
that's not changing.
So the top part of the living room is gonna connect to that door then? There's not an outdoor deck, or there is an outdoor?
No, so the addition on the top, right, is gonna have a slider that's gonna be enclosed, and the slider's gonna be here, which is gonna go out to the deck that goes to here, to walk out to the addition.
So
We're
that
just in-
actually didn't get larger, it just,
Right, this is, the top portion deck is just getting enclosed, and we're putting a slider here to continue the
Right,
already
okay.
existing deck going over to the addition.
Just a quick question. You said that top deck's not getting larger. It's actually getting larger
It
by
is
2
getting
feet.
larger. Yes.
By,
2 feet.
It's getting
yeah,
larger.
2
It's
feet
getting
on
larger.
the rear
Okay,
side,
just
yeah.
clarification.
Thank you. I was talking about on the
Understand.
middle
Hmm.
section,
Yep.
yeah.
So in terms of square footage, how much additional square footage do you know?
I don't have that number
Estimate?
in front of me.
Estimate?
Callahan.
Well, all right, so let's look at it this way. Without relief, the relief being requested is approximately just over, let's call it 50 square feet, right? So they can come up 50 square feet less without asking our permission, as long as they don't encroach. Then the only thing we deal with is the hardscape.
Yep, okay.
So, so it's a minimum of, well, a portion of it now is gonna be enclosed, correct? That used to be deck, upper deck.
Yes, that's gonna be enclosed
It's
now.
gonna be enclosed.
Yeah,
So, I don't know what there's additional deck, but it's probably less deck than was there before.
Okay.
right, on the top, right.
Okay.
But to make it clear, I think I did get one here, as opposed to both variances, the 2 feet and the
And the
42%.
Yep. Ed, you had a question?
Yeah, is there a rooftop deck being proposed here? In other words, is it gonna be a peaked roof on the addition? or is it gonna be a flat with a deck on top? That was the impression I got, that there was
No.
a new deck on top of the addition,
Roof.
no roof.
So if you've got the first floor addition, on the second floor, what used to be part of the deck is now proposed to be enclosed.
Right.
And then there'll be a deck going over to the garage.
There's no flat roof with a deck on top of that?
No.
No.
Okay.
No,
There's
just a
no.
flat roof.
The elevation, if you can go back to that
Yeah,
elevation
this one?
picture.
Yeah, actually, that
Yes.
one,
Yeah, right there.
that one shows.
There's
That-
no
We
roof
don't have
on
any
deck
pointers,
there.
huh?
I know.
There's no It's a flat roof over there.
No,
in
it's,
there.
there's
I just wanted to
a,
make
So
sure.
there's not a third floor deck.
Okay. Not gonna go over 30 feet, right?
But
Right.
who's to say they won't end up doing
I
that
don't
with
know who's
everything else
talking
being
at
done?
what time.
Yeah, excuse me, yes. She's great at her job, but it has to be one person speaking.
Did you hear me? I mean, who's to say that they won't end up doing it?
Excuse me.
Can't.
Right now, that's not what is proposed, okay?
I'm just saying with history here, precedent, it could change
Well,
and
you're
they
gonna
won't
have,
tell anyone.
if something happens, you've gotta go see Mr. Pimental
Okay.
We'll be back
and
there.
he'll be back there. So we can't control what ifs.
Can you just state your name
Mr.
again?
Osterman, do
I
you have
forgot
anything
your
else
name.
to add?
Me?
Yeah.
Robert A.
That's it.
Bensley?
Thank you.
I think that's it, thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, can you just state your name again?
Sure, it's Ed Cunny,
Yep.
Cunnie, 13 Sarasota.
Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
Please state your name and spell your last.
Gail Buckley Amaral, A-M-A-R-A-L.
Thank you.
I'm actually here representing my mother, Carol Buckley, at 24 Palm Beach Avenue. She passed away about a month ago. And my concern is, now that I'm a property owner over there, is the privacy issues. She has a teeny tiny little house right next door, and we're concerned.
Which house is that?
So it would be
This
that.
one?
Yeah. There it is.
And that's all.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So Karen Bensley, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And it's Karen?
Yeah,
Okay.
K-U-R-E-N,
Mhm.
Bensley, same as my husband, B-E-N-S-L-E-Y. So I just want to point out something that with regard to no work being done after the stop work order. So we were up on July 4th week, and I know that we watched the planning commission meeting on July 18th, and they said that they were shoring up some things. But, you know, there was a circular saw going a few days that week. We went over, and my son actually asked, there was a Leclerc truck there, and my son asked, are you putting stuff up or are you taking stuff down? And the response was, I'm taking stuff down. So I just want to point out the inconsistencies. There were several inconsistencies on the planning commission meeting when we listened to it. And, you know, their testimony today. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Mr. Callahan, would you like the last word?
Just regarding the last statement, like I said before, we did get a building permit in the interim for that kitchen area, which is internal to this project. Had nothing to do with the variance here. I'm not sure what the actual work was, but I don't want to make it seem like we were continuing work that wasn't allowed. I don't think that happened, and I think it would have been reported or alerted to the building department if it was. So just for clarification, not that that is essential to the request here.
Well, actually, it isn't. I mean, that's with the building official, if they violated a work, stop work or a permit, issue of a permit, so we do not get involved in that. We're strictly looking at the zoning here. But do you have anything else to
I think we,
offer? Are you,
I think we're finished our presentation, and thank you for your time.
okay. All right, Chair would entertain a motion.
No, before, James, just one clarification, I'm sorry. At the beginning of your presentation, you had mentioned complying with the hardscape requirement.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Steve.
Well, I thought this might go differently. So
You still want the hardscape variance?
if I could have a moment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, in respect to the hardscape, we would withdraw that request. We will comply with the hardscape by planting grass instead of having the gravel in both the front, if that's required, and the side to comply with the 35% maximum. So we will withdraw that request this time.
Can you do that with parking?
I think we would need to confirm that request because of the parking requirements for the number of bedrooms.
Because you can't, under the new FAR, I don't think you can
that's
park
right.
on grass.
Can't park on grass.
Matter of fact, I know you can't park on grass.
And you're looking at 1,400 square feet?
No, 2,100.
2,100.
300 per bedroom.
Oh, 300, that's right.
Yep, over 4 bedrooms goes to 300.
So we would need to make sure that that parking can accommodate that before they start proposing a reduction of that hardscape, which is part of the driveway.
All right, then, I guess we should leave this public hearing open and continue it till we get an answer on that.
Unless they decide to leave it and seek the variance.
If that's the case, how many parking spots do we need? What's the space, do we know?
Well, you have 7 bedrooms, so you need 7. When it goes above 4 bedrooms, it then goes to 300. So you need 2,100 square feet of parking area, and you wouldn't be able to park on grass.
Well, if that's the case, I think we'd rather keep the requests for the hardscape variance,
Okay.
because the hardscape was already in place long before. It wasn't like they added hardscape in the past 6 months. The hardscape has been there for how long?
Since 1998.
Right, so that's not really any different than what's been there for 25 years. So I think we'd rather keep the requested variance and.
I would just want to say that because of the addition, there is additional hardscape. Because of the additional 2 feet plus the additional 4 feet, there is additional hardscape than what did exist, just to clarify that. That's what triggered us looking at that.
So is this hardscape number that on the summary accurate? Or is it actually increased because of the 7.5%?
So, Mr. Chairman, yes, that would be an accurate number, but I didn't calculate the hardscape previous to. No, in other words, I didn't give you what it was existing, I only gave you what they currently pre-existing before, had they not already put on the addition. But we recognize that the addition increased the hardscape, so I calculated the hardscape as it exists with this addition.
Okay, so that is an accurate, that 7.5% is an accurate number?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So, just to be clear, Wayne, if they did not need a setback variance, would the hardscape still change?
If they stay within the footprint of the old deck,
Yeah.
you know, and fourth three-season room, they would not, as long as they stayed within the footprint. Once they exceeded it, then it would
That
trigger the
changes.
hardscape.
Changed everything. Okay. Chair would entertain a motion that we close this public hearing.
So moved.
Motion has been made
Second.
and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That motion carries 5-0. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, with respect to project summary with clerk, dated July 19th, 2023, tax assessor's plat Y-3, lot 61, 28 Palm Beach Avenue. The applicant is submitting a request to validate improvements currently under construction at the at 28 Palm Beach Avenue. This project requires a variance from the dimensional regulations 6.4 and floor area ratio matrix maximum hardscape, section 6.4B. Specifically, a 2.2 foot rear yard setback variance and a 1,055 square foot or 7.5% hardscape variance. I'd like to make a motion to accept the following findings of fact as stated in the July 19th, 2023 project summary. Findings of fact A through E, including the existing conditions and the proposed improvements. So the existing conditions, lot 61 is approximately 14,000 square feet in size, is located in an R20 zoning district and is currently occupied with a 41 foot by 74 foot irregularly shaped dwelling with a rear deck and shed. Existing lot coverage is approximately 2,619 square feet or 18.7%. The proposed improvements are validation of the conversion of a first floor sunroom to a kitchen with footprint expansion and a second floor deck and second floor living room expansion. Proposed lot coverage will be approximately 2,726 square feet or 19.5%. The board incorporates the information submitted as part of the application and the testimony of the following individuals who spoke as representatives representatives of the applicant. So we heard from James Callahan, the attorney for the applicant. We heard from the owners Jocelyn and Robin the clerk, who testified that they were seeking to expand what was previously a three-season room with a deck on the second story to a four-season room. We heard testimony from Jocelyn the clerk that he did not apply for a permit. The owners did not apply for a building permit prior to construction commencement. And the primary reason was a concern about timing and trying to get this project completed within a time frame that was convenient for the owners. We heard from nobody in favor of the application, with the exception of the owners. Opposed to the application, we heard from several individuals who are property owners in the neighborhood. We heard from specifically Robert Bensley, who lives at 21 Sarasota. We heard from Richard Durand, Edward Cunney, Joseph Osterman, Gail Amaral, and Karen Bensley. Primary concerns for the neighbors were that the owners are Mr. Leclerc is a builder, Mrs. Leclerc is a real estate agent, that they should have known that they needed a permit, but yet did not apply for it, and that it concerned about potential privacy issues with the new construction, as well as concerns that it's really not the least relief necessary, it does not meet the standards. With respect to this request for relief, the planning board, at a meeting on Tuesday, July 18th, 2023, found the application to be complete, and also found the application to be in conformance with the land use component of the comprehensive plan of Narragansett. Motions were made and passed 4-0 with respect to those issues. They recommended the application to the zoning board for denial with a vote of 4-0 for the following reasons: that the hardship is the result of a prior action of the applicant, that the granting of the requested variance will alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of the zoning ordinance or the comprehensive plan of the town of Narragansett upon which the zoning ordinance is based, that the relief to be granted is not the least relief necessary, and that this project is not in compliance with all applicable development and performance standards. They also found that the project is not compatible with the surrounding land uses and protection of adjoining properties from any adverse impacts, and that there are alternatives to the proposed project. That completes my motion with respect to the findings of fact.
I'll second.
A motion has been made and properly seconded to enter the findings of fact into the record. Is there any discussion?
Jim, I don't know if it's too late, but the shed, is that considered any hardscape?
That's
Yes.
lot coverage, yes, yeah. But it is too late to do that, so. We've already closed the public hearing, so. On this motion, what is the board's pleasure? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, with respect to project summary Leclerc, tax assessor's plat Y-3, lot 61, and the request for a 2.2 foot rear yard setback variance, I would move that we deny that request. I am not satisfied that this is the least relief necessary. I have grave concerns with respect to how this project has unfolded, especially given that the applicants should have been aware that they needed a building permit and should not have started construction prior to applying for that. And this really is a self-created issue. I believe that, you know, it's an unfortunate situation that they will have to undo some of what they've done with respect to the foundation. But I think if this application had come before us, even prior to the commencement of construction, I'm not sure that we heard, well, in my mind, we didn't hear testimony tonight that would be sufficient to have granted the variance for the setback.
I'll second that motion.
Do you want to address the?
Well, I wanted to keep it separate.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I should
fine.
have said that to begin with.
So a motion has been made and properly seconded to deny the relief requested for the rear yard setback. Is there any discussion?
No, I think you got it right, Chris. I think it was a self-created hardship from folks who are in the business. It is unfortunate to have to, in your words, undo what's been, at least some of what's been done, but We have had other applicants who've been in here who've also created hardships. And I think it's, we try to treat everyone the same way, treat them fairly. So I agree with your motion.
Anyone else? I can't support this as proposed. So, all those in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries 5-0. In regards to the hardscape variance being requested.
So I'm a bit unclear as to how a change in the footprint of the foundation will impact what's necessary from a hardscape perspective.
I don't know if we have to even look at that though, because one thing we have to keep in mind, they do have the right to appeal our decision.
Yes, so at this point, I would, given the denial of the variance, of the dimensional variance for the setback, I would presume that I would suggest a motion for denial of the hardscape variance. It would be in order because you can't assume what's going to be the smaller project.
Right.
That might be the cleaner way to go about it.
Thank you for that. So with respect to, again, Leclerc Tax Assessor's Plat Y, Lot 61, and the applicant's request for a variance from the maximum hardscape floor area ratio matrix maximum hardscape requirements of section 6.4B, which was a request for 1,055 square feet or 7.5% hardscape variance. Because we have denied the request for the rear yard setback variance, I also recommend that we deny the request for the hardscape variance for the same reasons previously stated.
I'll second.
A motion has been made and properly seconded to deny the request for the floor area ratio matrix maximum hardscape variance that was requested. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries 5-0. All right. Zoning board rules and procedure.
It's been a long time coming, Mr. Chairman.
Now, these are good till what, January 1?
Jill, I considered asking for a pass from this meeting, but I did not want to miss this.
But just keep in mind, they're good till January 1, correct?
No, they're good. Why wouldn't they be good? Why
Oh,
wouldn't they be good?
okay, well, is this
Now,
gonna
can we
affect?
change the four, so no, I don't think we have the standards in here. So obviously, in January, the prior thing might, the standards are gonna change, but this is more procedure and appellate stuff. Do we have anything in here, Jill, on the planning board or no?
I don't recall, I don't think so.
But if not, all of these would pretty much, oh yeah, we're gonna have to get rid of planning board of appeals.
Oh. Okay.
So we'll get rid of planning board of appeals because there'll no longer be a planning board of appeals,
Right.
but otherwise the rest will stay.
Okay.
So,
Well, you don't even have to.
How does that appeal happen?
I know.
Is it going to just eliminate the appeal, or does the appeal happen in another way?
It happens, it goes directly to Superior Court now. So they got rid of SHAB, which was kind of the interim board, and they got rid of planning boards, which are the interim boards, and just appeal it right to Superior Court based upon the record. I think for economy purposes, I don't think that's a bad idea. It may, usually it's big issues that get appealed to the planning board, not tiny issues, like for instance on D. Simone, that was really a planning board, it's a tiny issue, you hate to bring that to Superior Court and fight over it for 3 years, so it kind of got resolved, but usually it's big projects that get appealed, and you know, most of the time, the plating board upheld the zoning board, you know, the planning board, and then, you know, it got really litigated in spirit, so they just skipped the step.
Okay,
Anything else?
No, oh, no, actually, to the merits of the change here.
there's one significant change, as you can see, and it's, basically, we are finding that we have applications that are submitted to us that are, appear to be complete, either are determined to be incomplete, or at the bequest of the applicant themselves, they pause themselves in the middle of the review process, or sometimes actually between planning and zoning, and then they linger and languish with us for months, days, or years, most likely years. So I have a list of these going, and I would like to clear that deck. And so Steve Legal had suggested that we put that in the rules of procedure so that we can do that, and that way everyone is aware of what the process is, and the application, once submitted, only lasts for X amount of months. And that's what I'm proposing here.
Okay.
So how will that affect what you have currently? Can we do that now?
If they did that now, I would suggest just a letter. So right now, I think you'll have 12 months. So for what's on deck, you send a letter to all the applicants. New rules are in place. Just want to let you know that you have 12 months to do something, or you're out, and then everything going forward can be cleared in 12 months. Keep in mind, the laws have changed on everything so much that probably any application that's been sitting there would have to be almost reviewed anew anyway at this point, between the zoning applications, subdivision applications, the building stuff. So that's just to preserve those people's rights. We'll send a letter out to the, I'll call it the current pile of dormant files, and then moving forward.
So is this something that we accept this? Is it something that we'll be acting on? Or we just give
the administration.
Staff has,
yeah,
the administration has the power to.
Correct, and the public, more importantly, the applicant knows up front that they just can't put something on, you know, submit an application and then just hold it for years and years until they come back.
That seems reasonable to me.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you got enough stuff to wade through in that office.
However, though, I would like to, if you have this in front of you, I can come back, we can make that plating. Do we want to make the plating board change now, or do we want to wait?
No, because
and have the whole thing, but wait for this until January.
Okay. I mean, that's up to you.
Wouldn't you like to?
Yeah, get
I
this
would
now.
like to clear them out.
Why don't? Yeah.
All right.
Do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, why wait till January? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Give them 4 more months, right? I mean, so.
Yeah.
I agree.
Joe wants to do it now, I know.
Yeah.
Do it.
Ray, how long is the building? 2 years?
I mean, they still have
They pull it.
12 months.
Well, they won't have 12 months from this. They'll have 12 months, I think I worded it, 12 months from their original application.
Which section is it, Joe?
Yeah.
It's on page 9, it's section 10, repetitive or incomplete applications and withdrawals.
So this can be retroactive, basically, Steve?
No, I wouldn't, with the current applications, no, I think we need to send a letter out now, once,
Right.
and then say they got 12.
But if it's, yeah.
But
I don't think you can.
That's why I was asking that
but
question.
it'll have a 4-month rather than waiting until January.
Right,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. Sorry, Jill.
It's all right.
This is just 12 months in which for them to perfect their application?
Yes, so typically what happens is the application comes in and something is missing, or they go to planning and something has changed and they have failed to provide us the information in some way, shape, or form. And so they're not ready to move, they can't move forward. On one instance in particular, I was talking with Steve about earlier, the applicant voluntarily held back, went to planning and voluntarily asked to be held back from you, and just never came back.
Should we include some type of notice provision from you?
Sure.
Does that make sense, Steve?
Yeah.
Upon notice from,
Well, there is, don't you have notice in here?
I have, yep, a letter will be sent to the applicant indicating the
oh, okay,
application has
yeah.
been
I didn't get
closed,
that
and then
far.
no, yep,
Okay.
for the same project within a year.
And perfecting is a term of art. It doesn't refer to quality, it refers to completeness.
It refers to completeness. The planning board determines completeness, but by way of example, if someone were to come in with an addition and didn't provide us a site plan, we wouldn't even place it in front of the planning board. In one instance, Mr. Chairman, you might remember this years and years and years ago, we had an applicant challenge the planning division and came to the zoning board trying to get the zoning board to agree that their application was acceptable. This was a footprint only, it was a footprint only request. And I believe you guys agreed with the staff that said, no, we need floor plans and whatnot. So.
How do they know that their application has not been?
Is not ready to go to the
Affected,
planning board?
yes.
Not ready, we'll let them know, either via email, the portal. Prior to the portal, we used to send hard copy letters out.
Well, you do that now, correct?
We do that,
Yeah.
we
If
do,
there's-
we do it one of those three ways, depending upon the, really depending upon the receptiveness of the person that you're talking to. Some attorneys always get letters in the mail. But we now have e-permitting, and so that's a better way of everyone can communicate at the same time and everyone can see it. It's not just a letter coming from our department.
Is there a way to remind them that they have 12 months if we do this?
The people who are currently on my.
No, I'm
on
talking
hold
about
list?
just as a matter of procedure going forward. Right? So we,
It's gonna be known right at the beginning, right? If I walk in with an application, I'm gonna be made aware that I have 12 months to.
Well, no, not
Right.
necessarily, because we're not anticipating that anyone's gonna take 12 months to get us.
Right.
No, so the answer is no, we don't tell people, right, we don't hand them the rules of procedure. These rules, once you folks vote on them and you're, and they actually move to council, and so then then the larger body, outside of the fact that this is a public hearing and we're on YouTube, anyone paying attention as well at the town council level will know, because the rules will have changed and they will have to receive and place those on file. They don't approve them, but we do give them to them as a,
yeah, no,
as a
I'm not as
notification.
concerned about that as just the concept of your application isn't complete. I would like to be able to tell them your application isn't complete and you only have this much time to do it, or else it's going to be just a kind of a reminder if there's some way of doing it.
A 30 days before it expires, they get a notice saying the clock is ticking in your.
Well, I think the majority of applications wanna come in. and
they
get
want to come
through.
in.
Yeah.
They,
Get
once they
through.
get that incompleteness note of what's missing, they're pretty responsive.
Right.
95% of the time. I just have my 5% that's stacked up for the last 12 years.
Could be put in the application, so I can kind of
That-
see where you're coming from. If they don't read rules and procedures, and all of a sudden they're at the 12th month, and you're like, oh, your application's
it's gone.
done.
Right.
And they're like, what do you mean it's done? Nobody
Yeah.
ever told me I had 12 months.
Can we put that in e-permitting, just as that initial disclosure that once you file this application for building permit, you have, or for variance, I don't know.
Maybe for a variance.
Maybe
yeah.
for, I'm trying to avoid adding another step to
No, I
to
don't
our.
want to make
yeah.
more work for you, definitely. But
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
would
but
be-
couldn't it just be part of the application?
Yeah.
Just wording in the application?
We could put it, maybe not on the application proper, but in the instructions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
just make it known up front. Then there's no questions, right?
because I think somebody could possibly challenge it. if
Yeah, that's
not.
my concern. So,
Yeah. I mean, we do have the right to extend it. If you look at
No.
page 10, as a board. Right?
Oh, yeah, the next.
No,
Yeah, upon good cause shown by the applicant. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's just.
To withdraw.
Withdraw.
Okay. I think we should, just find a way to put that in, just so they know up front.
sure, put the 12-month notification on, and so we do provide with all of our variance applications, it's like a 9-page packet, we can add that into the instructions,
Okay.
or in, you know, sure.
Yeah.
You want
Are we comfortable? We can.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I'm good
You're
with it.
comfortable with it, right?
Yep,
Okay.
because it's without prejudice, you know, if something's sitting there, it's without prejudice anyway, it basically just puts them to the back of the line, which frankly is where they would go anyway if they ever resurrected their
Right.
application.
Okay.
Do you need a motion?
Can we vote on this evening then?
Sure.
I didn't see the agenda.
It's on the
Oh,
agenda. It's on the agenda.
discussion and possible action.
Action, yep, you can.
All right, gentlemen.
So, Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve the amended zoning board of review policies and procedures, rules and procedures, pursuant to the draft that's in front of us, specifically adding language on page 9.
I'll second that.
Wow.
The anticipation.
I was waiting for Joe.
Waiting for Chris.
Possibly his last official.
I may not be here.
So all right, a motion has been made and properly seconded to adopt the rules of procedure for the zoning board of review. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries 5-0. Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tom?
No, I said so moved.
Okay. We are adjourned.
Thank you.